Alright, so good news, those are all glued up, ready to go. Now we need to work on getting the sides trimmed down to our lining there. I'm going to start with a chisel because these pieces right here are a little proud and it's easier to make it through those with a chisel. And before I do that, I'm going to sort of set this to the side a little bit. Hopefully you can still see. And I'm going to clamp it to the bench so that it does not move. We don't want the whole thing moving around on us. Be very careful not to twist the guitar in the Solara. Still have my center lines lined up on both ends, still clamped down in the center. But now I'm going to take my chisel, and you can kind of see on there, I'm going to work the end grain of these wedges, and bring them down to level. This might take a few minutes, you know. The end grain is kind of hard to go through. All I'm doing is bringing this down to the level of the heel block, or close to it, enough so that I can get a plane on it and plane through it a little easier. Alternatively, you could probably find a way to take a small saw and cut through them, or with your plane, just take it all the way down. But this is a way to make quick work out of it. As long as your chisels are sharp. Right? Now, you can take a chisel, and you can probably get a lot of this taken out as long as you go with the grain and with the flow of the rib. But I find that that tends to chip it out a little bit too tough, and so you end up with these kind of divots in it, or you can go a little bit too far and go too far down and give yourself a problem later on. So, the easiest way I find is to take a good closed mouth block plane and follow your way around the side. All the way until you're flush with the lining. This is going to take me a little bit. You see the process? I'm going to follow the other side around too. I'll come back in a little bit. Okay, so as you get close to the lining, you want to make sure that you angle just slightly, just ever so slightly to the outside of the guitar. And the idea behind this is that you take a little bit of the outside and a little bit of the shading of the inside, just a little bit. I don't know if you can see. And the idea being it's going to conform to the top, and so that you'll have a good flat meeting of the glue there. Make a little bit of tear out there. This portion right here, up here, needs to be flush so that if you move the side of this, you don't hear it pop against there. It needs to be flush together because that's going to be glued all together. Now I've got a little bit of an issue here. I'm going to have to get back in here and re-glue a portion that popped out after I get done doing this portion here. Get my clamps back out in a minute. Okay. The other thing I have is that this part right here is a bit proud, so very carefully remove some of that. I think I deliberately left it a little bit high, and that's okay. I'd rather that be a little bit proud and have to take a little bit off than not have enough there. Should be just a little bit of angle here to conform with the radius of the back. Remember we put that in with the braces. There'll be a little bit of pitch forward from that too. Okay. Alright, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and do my re-gluing. Okay, So here I am. If you're just kind of watching the one here, and I may just include this with that video, but I have now, so I've taken my plane and I have planed around the edge, and I have gotten this where it needs to be. Okay, so that the edge of the lining and the guitar is flush. It's ready for me to glue to the back, except for me notching the lining for the actual back braces. Now, you might have noticed that I had an issue when I was doing that. I noticed that I had some failure here. I had both a wood failure and a glue failure in a couple of different spots, and that's because my sides have a bit too much spring back in them. Now, what that means for me is that I've got to heat the glue back up again, and I've got to re-glue those areas. So I'd rather do that now while the back is off, before I put that on there, than later. Now, it's not going to be detrimental later. I'm glad I noticed it when I did. It does mean that my waist will be pushed back in. I notice that when I use the clamp to clamp these back into location, just applying moderate pressure, everything moves back to where it's supposed to be. And that tells me that I can just add some glue here. I used hot high glue for those, so just reactivating that, getting a little bit more glue in there, getting the clamp on it, letting that cool and dry for a good period of time should be enough for me to move forward. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to finish that up off camera. It won't take me very long. I've got all my glues and clamps ready to go. I'm just waiting on the glue to heat. So.